Hi, everybody, and welcome to Talking Cars with Consumer Reports. I'm Tom Mutchler.
I'm Jake Fisher.
I'm Anita Lam.
I am very excited to have Anita with us on this show. This show, we're going to talk a lot about our new reliability data. Anita, she's in charge of that. And to be quite honest, she's smarter than all of us in this room.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
That goes for the camera guys, too, by the way.
That's true.
So Anita, how does Consumer Reports do reliability?
It all comes from our subscribers, both the magazine and online. So each year around April time, we send out an annual questionnaire asking the owners of the vehicles whether they had any serious problems with their vehicles during the past 12 months.
And how many people fill this out?
A lot. This year we have responses on 1.1 million vehicles.
1.1 million vehicles.
Yes, that is a lot.
And how old?
We asked cars that range from 2013, which is the new model
the newest
year,
stuff you can get.
to 2004, which are 10-year-old cars.
Wow, that's very impressive. So let's start on the high note. What's the good news? If I want to buy a reliable car, what car should I buy?
You should buy a car that's very reliable, according to Consumer Reports. You should buy the issue. Wait, no, you work here. Okay, never mind. There's still a lot of cars. Traditionally, we see a lot of Japanese cars at the top of the ranks, right? So it's like Toyota, Honda, the usual cast of characters. This year, top three cars. What is it? Still Toyota.
Top three brands.
It's Lexus. The top three brands this year are still Japanese. They are Lexus, Toyota, and Acura.
But then it all gets crazy.
Yes.
Number 4.
Yes, we got a newcomer for number 4.
Okay, and let's go to the studio audience and see if anyone can guess what number 4 is.
You go.
It is not from Japan. It's not from Korea. It's not American. It's Audi.
Audi?
Yes, Audi. Audi is the number 4
Did you not
manufacturer.
carry a 2 right somewhere?
Well, Audi hasn't been that great a couple of years ago. I remember 2 years ago they were ranked in the lower third, but they've been creeping up slowly, and this year they are number 4th.
I mean, that blows. I cannot fathom this. I mean, I'm going back a long time. My dad owned an Audi Fox. He knew the tow truck owner. He knew the tow truck operator's name. My uncle had an Audi 5000. That thing was a total piece of crap.
Yeah, that did get our total piece of crap rating, but we got rid of that later.
It's a nice bronze statue.
it's a brown
but
blob
but
circle.
Really, this is 25, 30 years ago.
So and it's not overnight. So I mean, last year actually Audi was doing pretty well. They broke the top 10. Now they're breaking the top 5.
Right.
It's a steady growth and reliability of Audi, and it's pretty amazing because these are high content vehicles. There's lots of electronics. There's lots of power seats, and they're holding together. It's pretty amazing.
And they didn't do it overnight. Like, they had a lot of vehicles that were in the average, and they creep up to better than average. And this year, they have the Audi A6, the 2.0T, as much better than average.
The front drive one, yeah.
Yes, and that is quite an amazing achievement.
Wow, impressive. Also, there's another European brand that's kind of wormed its way up in the ratings, right?
Volvo.
Well, Volvo doesn't have the breadth of products as Audi does, and in this survey, it came up to number 7. Part of the reason is that we didn't have sufficient data for the ancient XC90 SUV.
Well, there's a surprise. We told our readers not to buy the XC90 because it's old. It's like Methuselah.
It's not reliable, it's old, don't buy it, and they didn't buy it, so we don't have data, so that dropped off the list.
But then the S60 and the Cross, the XC90,
the
XC70.
XC60, XC70, they are all average or better.
Wow. So that's the good news. But what everyone really wants to hear is the bad news.
No bad news.
No bad news. Oh, we forgot one exciting news.
Oh, exciting news?
Tesla.
But Teslas catch fire and stuff.
No.
That's what the interwebs tell me.
I heard that a Tesla, actually, this really happened. One got a flat tire. Yes, and the owner was stranded because they had to put another tire.
You know, we're giving government loans to a company that can have flat tires. What the?
I know. No, but
so how did Tesla do?
We have data on Tesla.
We had enough data on Tesla.
Amazingly, combining 2012 and 2013 models, we have over 600 Teslas.
600?
Yes.
That's amazing. And how did it do?
The 2012 model year, it was above average.
Okay.
There were fewer problems. Surprisingly, the 2013 had slightly more problems. So with both years combined, we got an average predicted reliability score.
And what are the problems? Is it the battery packs? Is it the whiz-bang iPad that's the
No,
center?
it wasn't that. It wasn't the electric drivetrain. It wasn't the batteries. None of those. It was actually a lot of mechanical problems. Actually, what was those door handles that we always kind of had trouble with, where you kind of have to
You
look
mean
at
the
it
motorized
funny
door
and then it comes out
handles
for
are
you. It was niggly things
problematic?
like that. But the powertrain actually was very good. And what this means, of course, is that we're now recommending the Tesla. Because
Our top scoring car.
Our top scoring car. We waited until we actually have reliability data on it, especially if you look at this car, it's like new technology and batteries and all these different things. But, like we've seen with other electric cars, it's actually doing pretty good. Other electric cars have been reliable. In a way, there's less things to break, right? There's no big transmission and, the engine has a lot of things to break.
A Leaf or a Volt, are they doing well as well?
Yeah, the Leaf is still pretty reliable. It's still better than average. Now, the Volt has been staying at better than average for the last 2 years, and this year it got to average.
But still,
But
we
still,
recommend
it's
it.
very good. We're still recommending it.
But hold on, when you talk about a Volt, that's not.
You're right, it's not electric.
My whole point with electric cars is not. You got an engine anyway.
I don't listen
So-
to your points.
I know, I know. I should get used to it by now. But when you have, the Volt's kind of got the electric powertrain, it's got the engine too, it's got all those pieces, there's more to break. I think all of the vehicles that we looked at are pure electric. Many things are breaking on them. Pretty good.
So it sounds like hybrids and electric cars do pretty well. Behind us, we have a Ford C-Max hybrid. How does that do?
Well, only hybrids and electric cars of Japanese nameplates do really well. Unfortunately, the C-Max, and of course the Tesla did quite well.
Yeah, an American car.
Right. Unfortunately, the C-Max, which is also an American car, didn't do quite as well. In fact, it's the least reliable new car in our survey. Well, the C-Max, the energy, the
plug-in version,
yeah.
okay. Well, man, the poor C-Max. I mean, the whole fuel economy thing, and now it's basically at the bottom of our reliability ratings. But Ford didn't really have a great year anyway, did they?
No, Ford had a number of new products that were introduced in 2013. They were the Escapes, talking about fires. Then the Escape, that
Worst segue ever.
1.6
that was horrible.
EcoBoost. But that's also unreliable. Unfortunately, all the new Escapes are unreliable except the old powertrain, the 2.5.
Oh, you mean the very base model, the
Yes,
front
the
drive
very-
2.5.
yes. Yeah, even though it has a new body, but
We were just talking about this actually before,
engine.
that if you look at the Fords, it's like every vehicle that has an older engine, the old 2.5, the old 3.7, those invariably were doing better than the ones with the new EcoBoost engines.
Well, there are also the base versions. They're
Was
not
that
as well
EcoBoost or
equipped.
EcoBoost? Was that
what
a
you said.
slip? Okay, got it.
There are also the less well-equipped versions.
Right.
They're the base versions. They wouldn't have My Ford
Yeah,
Touch.
we'll talk about My Ford Touch
Yes.
in a bit. Yeah, but it's troubling because a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, we had said Ford has the reliability of a good Japanese brand.
And they did. And just like we were talking about, Audi's kind of like going up, Ford kind of had this great spot where they had an old, we did a kind of an old product line, a mature product line of vehicles like the old Fusion and the Escape that had been around for years, Focus too. Worked out all the bugs. It was actually producing very, right up there with the Japanese. And then in the last couple of years, we've seen great new products. And I say great because these cars perform very well. I mean, they handle well.
No, they're
they ride
lovely
well.
cars to drive.
Great cars. They look great. But with all these new technologies just hitting at the same time, My Ford Touch, everything, the new technology, the turbos, everything, they've just, every time they replace the vehicles, they're lowering down that score. And, last year too, they were kind of right at the bottom of the rank. They're down there again.
So the Escape, a small SUV, that's down, it's pretty bad in our survey. What is the most reliable new car in our survey?
Well, the most reliable new car is actually the redesigned 2014 Subaru Forester.
That one parked over
Yes, the blue car right behind us.
there. Wow, that's impressive because that was a pretty thorough redesign. It went to a CVT, there were extensive changes there. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I guess it didn't have all those electronic stuff. And we kind of,
Yeah.
we said connectivity is not quite up to date. Maybe that kind of.
There's the irony,
How?
because one of the very few complaints we have about the Forester is that it's got like a record player in it as an audio system. And that was something that hurt Ford, wasn't it? And other brands was high-tech electronic systems.
Yeah, we're seeing that's really the big issues going on with cars now, that it's like computers, right? I mean, if you have a computer, if you have a PC, you're used to the thing locking up and you have to reboot it. You're not used to that with cars. And these are the big problems now we're having in cars. They've done so well with powertrains and the hardware and such like that, that this is just, and some people are doing it really well and some people are doing it bad. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, we're seeing issues with Ford, we're seeing with Honda, right? Honda. I mean, they're trying to put in this infotainment systems and they're not doing a good job with it.
So what's going on with Honda?
So that gets to our next highlight is not all Japanese cars are reliable.
Or low light for that matter.
The ones you could have depended on in the past, like a Honda Accord, which was redesigned for 2013, and again they improved. They are great performing cars, but especially on the coupes and the V6 sedan, because they have this new Honda Link.
Oh, the new touchscreen system.
The dual touch screen.
It's an ergonomic mess, but it's a reliability mess too.
Yes, I think people are having problem.
Syncing their phones, connectivity, it comes unsunk, and they want to sync their cars. I mean, it's just, yeah. There's a lot of problems with those, and we've actually done some recontact surveys of the people who said these systems are not working.
Well, I mean, are these people just, what you always read is those people are stupid. They don't know how to use the system.
We didn't ask them if they were stupid. That wasn't part. We should ask them.
Are we allowed to ask them?
No, we're not.
Or they don't understand the system, so they go back to the dealer. Is it that they don't understand them, or are there actual problems?
So we went back because we were looking at problems with, and another one that we should mention is Q.
Yeah.
So we're seeing Cadillac's Q system, and we're seeing some problems with like the Cadillac XTS, which is bringing down Cadillac quite a bit. Cadillac was doing pretty good in reliability. Now it's coming down.
Well, they were, because the CTS was last year was one of the.
Right.
I mean, it's redesigned now.
It was the final year of the redesign is always more reliable.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we went back and we asked these people, tell us more with your problems with your Q system or your Acura Link for a system or whatever. And we didn't ask them if you were old and you don't understand it. But actually, I mean, I kind of joke about that. But actually, what was very interesting is that we had more. We actually started looking at age, and of the people who are younger, were more likely to report problems with their systems.
Wow.
And one of the indications of that is probably younger people are probably more using these systems that, linking their phone with it, trying some of these new technologies, and finding these problems. So you don't dig and try to use some of the technologies that they're offering you. Maybe you're not realizing they're not working. But I mean, especially we look at the Honda system where it's not holding links with your phone. It's not setting that up.
It's interesting you said that. I drove our 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee over the weekend, and I spent quite a while getting the phone to link, and it dropped it. And indeed, the Grand Cherokee, its reliability's dropped too, and a lot of it's that radio system, isn't it?
2014, the redesigned one, yes. In fact, the V6 is dropped well below our average, and we can recommend it.
So how's Chrysler doing otherwise?
Chrysler, one of their luxury, kind of almost luxury sedan, the 300C has been unreliable, but this year it improved.
Oh, so they're working out the bugs in the 300C.
Working out the bugs on 300C.
And they probably have a whole lot of Uconnect systems in there too. Yeah. So I mean, just the final word I think on these systems is you can do it right. So we're seeing a lot of problems with the My Ford Touch and the My Lincoln Touch. We're seeing problems with what Acura and Honda is doing. We're seeing problems now with Q. But again, Audi, they're very reliable.
Right.
They have these systems in there.
Reliable.
BMW is actually pretty solid mid-pack, have those systems in there. Lexus, a lot of technology in those, and they're still very reliable.
Well, the Lexus ES was also redesigned for 2013, and they brought on the new screen.
And the mouse control.
And the mouse control and all that. Well, mouse control has been around for a couple of years, but they added
the RX.
that.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's a pretty complex system. It has a lot of features, but it's working. So there's a difference.
One other surprise. Usually Nissan, kind of middle of the pack reliability-wise. The Altima, safe buy, decent scoring car, reliable. Not this time.
Nissan, in fact, has really been kind of sliding a little bit even in our past surveys. And Altima, somehow it shows is maybe a little bit of decontent.
For the 2013 redesign.
Yeah, redesign.
Right.
Because a lot of the problems have to do with like squeaks and rattles, wind noise, the body hardware.
Stuff that makes it feel kind of cheap.
Right,
and old.
right. That you think if they had better, if a little quality is a little better, it might be avoidable. And there's also a little bit of, I think, some transmission problem with that new CVT.
Oh, that's right.
Might have caused some problem too. But both the 4-cylinder and V6 are not reliable.
Oh, wow. That's quite a change for an Altima.
Yeah, and the Pathfinder, which is also a complete redesign now, that's a car base, it's the same platform as the JX, is also very unreliable.
Oh, okay. So they're having some hard time with their new products.
Yes.
So let me ask, compared to the Audis that I brought up, compared to cars from a long time ago, cars are a lot more reliable than they ever used to be. Does this matter? Does any of this stuff matter? Are cars, we're pulling out little tiny differences, but does it really matter?
I don't think there are tiny differences at all. And I think, we're talking about the C-Max that's sitting behind us, and what we were saying, there's 22 or 25% of the people are having problems with these cars. They have to go back to the dealer.
Wow, that's
a big deal.
New cars are, that's bad for a new car.
So we're seeing these things where people have to go back to the dealer, they have to get things fixed, and sometimes they're going back, it's an inconvenience, and you don't expect that.
Yeah.
And there's other cars, what was the problem right here? It was, single digits, 4%, 3%.
Right. But even with the C-Max, some of the problems that were being voiced by our owners was like, the clock continues to lose time. Now that doesn't put you...
That makes me very confident about the whole high-tech hybrid system when the clock doesn't...
Well, especially, when you want to try to travel through time.
Well,
you might go to the wrong spot. But just to stop you right there, and sorry to interrupt, but we are not counting the clock problem as much as like an engine problem or something more severe.
Right, people say that
so
a
we
lot,
do
that a
weigh it
squeak or a
very
rattle
much
or
differently, yes.
Things that are going to leave you on the side of the road,
Yes.
we weigh
Right, exactly.
heavily.
You will be late for your appointment, you might get in trouble, but you won't get stranded.
That's right.
Because the clock doesn't work.
So let me ask, would you buy a car that's that doesn't come up as reliable in Consumer Reports?
No. In fact, my favorite car, both in my driving experience and reliability, is a Subaru Forester.
Why?
It just, I'm so comfortable with that driving position. I can see out well. They have big windows. I'm sitting up high. I have a power seat that makes me really feel sitting high up above
you have a big
everything.
brain but a small body, so
Right,
that driving position in the windows are great.
And even the car, you look at it, it's still fairly big, but it handles really well.
What about you? Would you buy something?
I was very afraid you were going to ask me this because you did leave out one surprise that we saw this year.
Your favorite.
Stop it! It hurts me. It really does. But Subaru makes really good, reliable cars. I have a good history of that. Toyota and its affiliates, Scion, Lexus, they make really good, reliable cars.
Put them together and the result should be perfect.
Exactly. So when they came up with the Scion FRS and the Subaru BRZ, and they were great, fun cars, you would assume that, good plus positive. Anyway, they're below average, both those cars, BRZ and the FRS. And I really like that car, so it pains me that they're having so much problems with it.
See, this always comes to mind every time I drive a Land Rover LR4. not that, we don't have enough survey data for it, but it doesn't look, the little bit we have isn't great. And it's like, could I live with this? And part of me thinks, look, Consumer Reports, as long as we give you the information, you decide what you're going to do with it. But boy, there is a price to pay.
The truth is that, there are a lot of other choices out there. There's a lot of good cars out there. There's, we were driving around the Fiesta ST the other day. I mean, that's a whole lot of fun.
It is a whole lot of fun, but it's got my Ford Touch.
It does have my Ford Touch. But
And Fiestas haven't been reliable.
Yeah, the Fiesta wasn't reliable to begin with. But you hit on a good point. There are a lot
once
of
in a while.
stuff, you get lucky every now and then. There are a lot of choices out there, and there are a lot of better choices. And that explains actually a change we just made in our recommendation policy of cars and how it relates to the Insurance Institute's small overlap test. Do you want to summarize what we...
Sure, yeah. There's a new Insurance Institute test, which is the small overlap test, which is basically you're hitting a barrier, but it's only kind of on the outside of the car, so it kind of sometimes goes outside where the normal bumper is. Anyway, it's a new test, and not every car is doing that well in it. So IIHS is kind of trying to raise the bar, which they should be, because most of the tests now, all the cars are indistinguishable. Everybody is good with everything. So at first, there were some cars that were getting some pores in it, but we're kind of waiting to see, make sure not every car gets a pore. Is it just a test too hard? And we're about a year into it. And of the vehicles that we're recommending, some of them have pores. So we went through basically all the cars that we're recommending, and these vehicles, the Toyota Camry, Toyota RAV4, the Toyota Prius V, not the normal Prius, the wagon one, and the Audi A4. These 4 vehicles have pores in this test. And we don't feel that we can continue to recommend vehicles that have a pore in a major crash test like this. So, originally when it happened, we don't know if everything is going to go bad. But if you look at like the Camry, so I mean,
it's a shock for consumer
it's kind of a
reports
bombshell,
not to
yeah.
recommend a Camry or a RAV4.
But we took a good look at it, and it's a very crowded market in family sedans. And you look up and down the line, just about every single one has gone through this crash test, and every single one has done better than the Camry. The Camry is the only one that's getting a pore in this crash test.
Wow.
So if there's so many other choices, there's many good choices in that category, we just don't understand how we can continue to recommend this vehicle that does poor in this test when there's others that do better.
So yeah, when you can go and you can buy an Accord instead of a Camry.
4-cylinder.
Yeah, that's the reliable 4-cylinder without the touchscreen radio.
Right.
It's hard to say. Yeah, keep buying a Camry. And Toyota has said they are working on this because they know it's a PR problem. In fact, one of the reasons that we made this change is actually feedback from you. Seeing feedback from the podcast, people asking, hey, this car gets a pore in a highly visible crash test. How do you guys keep on recommending it? And we aren't anymore.
Yep.
So that explains that change. Hope you learned a lot about reliability in this show. As always, thank you for watching.